Social media changes absolutely insanely way too fast. And there are so many social media platforms out there that it can almost seem a bit confusing. I want to talk to you guys about how these social media platforms can work in your overall marketing strategy. Hey everyone, my name is Amber Romero. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am the owner of A Creative Co. and I am a social media content strategist for small business owners, content creators, and social media managers. So today I want to talk to you guys about and give you a couple examples of how I use the different social media platforms to market my business, because every time I post on one of these platforms, it's with a different intention. It is with a different goal in mind. And I want to present you guys with how I use them so that you could maybe start to think of these platforms in different ways and how to use them for your business. So before we dive in, I do want to say that each of these social media platforms will have different goals in your business. They will lead to different metrics. They will lead and give you different KPIs, and KPIs are just key performance indicators. They are going to work in your overall marketing strategy in very different ways. And so often I see with business owners, content creators, social media managers, and while we can post the same exact type of content on each platform, it's going to perform differently, it's going to give you different results, and that's a-okay. We can't expect the same piece of content to perform high and identical across all platforms. So that's my small little caveat, but let's dive into each of these platforms. So number one, Instagram. Instagram is my main social media channel that I use in my marketing strategy. And the reason why it's my main one, while it's not my biggest audience, it is the platform that I think is the most diverse when it comes to hitting certain business goals. I can get onto Instagram and build a community. I can get on there and sell my products. I can get on there, sell my services. I can be booked for speaking events. It really is the most diverse platform when it comes to hitting certain goals for me, particularly right now. But the main goal that I use Instagram for is delivering high value content that will get people into my email list, get people to follow me so that I can then push out more content to them and push out products and eventually allow them to buy from me. But it's also a great way that I connect with people. It is my main form. I have DMs turned off on TikTok and on other places. It is the main way to communicate with me if you're wanting some one-on-one attention. It is a way that I make sure that I am serving my community through content and conversation. And it's such a visual platform that I'm able to build brand awareness of who I am, what I look like, what my brand looks like. It is a really inclusive tool, even though we love to hate Instagram. It is still one of the main drivers of traffic to my website, sales in my pipeline, and just overall, it does build that brand awareness that I need. And for most small business owners and content creators right now, that holds true. It is the platform that has been the longest standing, other than Facebook, but we'll get into Facebook in a second, that business owners will use, especially during this pandemic and all these crazy things that are going on in the world. It is a main source of information and you can buy products, and it's just a well-rounded social media platform when it comes to serving your customers. Okay, so my secondary marketing channel that I use the most is TikTok. That is actually my largest audience, but the main reason why I don't have that as my primary marketing channel right now, TikTok, at least for me and for my audience, it is not going to sell for me the way that I need it to. Now, there are plenty of content creators and business owners, especially product-based business owners, that can sell out of their inventory, sell out of their offers all on TikTok. For me, I use the platform slightly differently. I'm not on TikTok to go and sell out my offers because a lot of my offers do not fit the category of followers that I have on there. Most of the time, TikTok will skew younger, your audience will skew a bit younger, and while they aren't quite in that buying age that I would need them to be in, they will eventually. So for TikTok, I serve my audience by giving them as much information as I can, tips and tricks, and I build brand awareness, but it also does two other things for me. The one that I focus primarily on is I'm giving these tips and tricks, these short form videos, and I want to point people over to my YouTube channel. It is such a great way to transition people people from one platform to another. So I use TikTok to point people, hey, if you liked this video, I have a much longer video that is over on YouTube. Make sure you guys go and watch it. And the last thing that I like to use this platform for is for brand collaborations. It is the main platform that I use to generate income in that way, whereas I don't generate income from sales directly through TikTok. So that kind of leads me into my third channel that I like to use, YouTube. You're watching it right now. Again, for me, very similar to TikTok, YouTube is allowing me to, yes, I might get a couple of sales from YouTube. It's more so to distinguish myself as, I hate this word, but there's no other way to use it. It's like a thought leader or an educator. It's really going to build more of that brand awareness that I am the expert, that I know what I'm doing, that I know what I'm talking about, and really build that brand authority. Along with this, one of my biggest business goals for the next coming years is to distinguish myself as a speaker as well. So if somebody is looking to book me for a speaking event, they can come into my YouTube channel and see that, hey, this is the kind of charisma she has. This is how she talks. They're going to get a good sense of how I teach and if they want to book me for a speaking event. And while yes, I do have call to actions at the end of my YouTube videos, pointing you guys to either different resources, paid products, encouraging you to just subscribe to my channel, that's not my true intention of creating this content on YouTube. It truly is to inform and educate and make sure that I'm giving you guys as much value as I possibly can. Now, the following platforms that I'm going to talk about, I either don't spend much time on them, or I use them only when needed, or I have future strategies for them that I just haven't quite implemented yet. Facebook, we can't get away from it. If I could have a business page without having a personal page, I think I'd just delete it altogether. The only reason why I use Facebook now is if I'm in a launch mode and I want to run a couple ads. That's literally all I'm using Facebook for. And then again, for personal use. When I was an agency owner, I had to have Facebook to manage client stuff. And also with scheduling platforms, like if you want to schedule your content, you have to have a Facebook business page linked to your Instagram page. It's a whole big hot mess, but that is the only thing I use Facebook for. Sometimes I'll go on there and just whatever is being posted on Instagram, I have just also shoved over to Facebook, but I genuinely don't spend time marketing my business on there unless I'm putting dollars behind it. Now, moving on to Pinterest. When I was a marketing manager, I loved using Pinterest for the business that I worked for and grew their profile to 3 million views per month. And like, I loved it. Now, honestly, when I offered those services as an agency owner, it was just in the beginning and I kind of got rid of Pinterest. Being a couple years out of the game, Pinterest has changed so much and I honestly don't even know this platform as well as I thought I did. So eventually, towards the end of this year, yes, I do have a Pinterest profile. Yes, I did have an intern kind of helping me here and there with some older strategies that I used to use, but those don't work as well anymore. I'm starting to play around with different idea pins and kind of just experimenting over on Pinterest. That's the main goal right now. But eventually, if I'm just being honest with you guys, I want to use Pinterest to drive traffic to sales. I want to sell my lower end digital products and really start to use Pinterest as a sales tool. But I also want to be able to invest in a true Pinterest manager or a Pinterest agency to run that for me. And until I can get to that level, I'm not going to dedicate as much time and energy and effort. But if that is something that is part of your strategy, I know Pinterest is one of the top traffic drivers to small business owner websites, especially if you have products or digital products, whatever that looks like. I know Pinterest is a really good one to directly sell or at least get people on your email list. Moving into LinkedIn, I need to do some workshops and I need to learn a little bit more about it. For right now, I'm using LinkedIn to just connect with industry peers, connect with people that can potentially book me for speaking events or, just a great networking tool. Eventually, I would love to have LinkedIn perform similar to what Facebook used to do. I would love to be able to publish content there and drive website traffic, maybe drive a couple sales or point people in different directions. But for now, I'm just using it as a networking tool and occasionally publishing content there. It isn't as high hitting as I want it to be, so I'm not spending as much time and energy and effort there. And last but not least, Twitter. I'm still on the Twitter struggle bus. Right now, I only use Twitter to post tweets that I'm going to screenshot and post on Instagram. But eventually, if I'm wanting to become more of this educator, thought leader, speaker, I am going to need to get on Twitter because I know that is where people like to publish all their words and their threads and like so many different things. I still haven't fully adopted this platform yet, and I still don't know if it ever will be fully adopted into my content strategy, but it is something that it might be on the horizon for me. I go back and forth. I'll try it for a couple months, absolutely hate it, and leave. I just wanted to give you guys an inside look of how I use these platforms to create an overall marketing strategy on top of some other things that I'm doing. And the most important part is to realize that each of these platforms are going to help you hit different goals. All these platforms aren't going to help you make a ton of money. All these platforms can't drive traffic to your website, or all these platforms, they can't do all of that at once. That's why sometimes it's good as a small business owner or content creator or social media manager to have multiple channels, and because they're going to help you reach different goals. So if you guys have any questions, you guys can always head on over to Instagram, follow me over there, _creativeco, and send me a DM, and I'm more than happy to answer them. Otherwise, you can leave them in the comments below, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys next week.